Hello there, and welcome once again to the Mayor's Magazine. I'm Mick Cornett, the Mayor of Oklahoma City, and this is our show for May 2014. Our first segment's all about the upcoming film festival. The deadCENTER Film Festival is coming back, and Lance McDaniel's here. Lance, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having us. We're excited to have our 14th festival in downtown Oklahoma City.
14th?
14th year,
I was
yes.
going to ask you how many, and I just assumed it was, 5 or 6 or 7.
Well, no, we've been going for 14 years, and Khaki Porch and Melissa Scaramucci ran it for several of those, and then I came on board in after the 10th year, and Kim Haywood, who's been with there about 12 years, she and I run it, and we have our newest employee, Alex Picard. So we have 3 employees. We've been here 14 years, and we get about 20,000 people at our festival downtown, and it's June 11th through 15 this year. And then we also do a fall education program where we take we go on the road to rural schools and see about 3,000 kids doing that.
14, it must have then almost coincided with the opening in the Museum of Art downtown.
It was. Now, we started actually at City Arts, so our first screening was at City Arts at the State Fairgrounds, and then moved up to UCO, and then we came down, and so we've been with the Museum of Art for 10 years. So they've been our official headquarters, and they've been a fantastic partner for us.
How many people enjoy the film festival?
Well, we get about, last year we had 20,000 people that came to it, and that's great for us. We show 3 outdoor movies, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then we have 100 movies playing inside at Harkins, the Museum of Art, and also at Devon. And so we have a lot of different ways to get involved. And we also have a Kids Fest that's free that we do at the Myriad Gardens, where we show kids appropriate movie, and then we also take them outside and show them how to garden and exercise and all that. So it's a really great partnership with the Myriad Gardens.
How do you grow something that's deemed a success year after year after year?
Well, what we've done, so because it's about independent film, I think at first we were pretty niche, and what we've tried to do over the last 14 years is get more exposure, and we have great corporate partners from Devon, Chesapeake, OG&E. Our international attention has allowed us to bring bigger movies, and that has helped us grow here locally.
Yeah. Now, you grew up in Oklahoma City. Give
Yes.
us a little bit of background on Lance McDaniel.
Yes, well, I grew up in Alva and then moved to Oklahoma City for junior high and ended up graduating from Heritage Hall. And I left for 18 years, and I've been back 10 to make, and I also make movies. And so the 10 years I've been back here is probably the best decision I ever made, because I never knew if I'd come back to Oklahoma City as an adult, and when I got that opportunity, I came back to a city that was so exciting, and it was just as fun and exciting as San Francisco, New York, or any other place I'd lived. So I'm thrilled to be back here.
What type of movies are drawn to the deadCENTER Film Festival?
Well, we have a great variety of movies. We have, like this year, we'll show one about Edith Kinney Gaylord, a documentary about Edith Kinney Gaylord. We'll have one about George Takei, the guy from Star Trek. And so we get a lot of great documentaries that'll play Sundance and might even get nominated for an Oscar. We also have really good narrative films. A third of our films are from Oklahoma filmmakers. And so we have a very good emphasis on Oklahoma filmmakers, but we also have an international footprint as well. So we'll have scary movies, funny movies, dramas, anything. So with 100 movies, our goal is to make sure every one of them is totally different.
Are these expensive events to attend?
These are not. So you can buy an all-access pass for $125, or what's great is if you have an Allied Arts City card, you can get 2 for 1. So it ends up being about $70 to see 100 movies and go to 5 days worth of parties, which is great. And then we also have a student discount, and our sponsors, obviously, if you work for one of our sponsors, they get 2 for 1 discounts. And so there's a lot of ways to enjoy it. You can also buy an individual ticket for $10, and if you haven't been, that's a great way to try it out and just see what you like. And we also show a ton of movies Saturday and Sunday at Harkins. We'll have 4 screens, so there will be 20 movies a day playing, so there's going to be something you like. So if you want, just come buy 1 ticket and then walk in and see what you think.
June 11th to the 15th
Yes.
are the dates.
Exactly.
And if people want to buy tickets in advance, what should they do?
They should go to our website. So if you go to our website, which is deadcenterfilm.org, or if you go to Google and just type in deadCENTER Film Festival, it'll take you there and you can buy the tickets online.
And if you just want to go to one movie?
Then you just go to the theater and buy a ticket once you get there. And how that works is all the pass holders get in first, and then we sell the remaining seats. So like we'll play a Nick Offerman movie this year, and every year his movies sell out because he and Megan Mullally are so popular here. And so if you're looking for a Nick Offerman movie, you're going to need to get in line very early. But for some of the more challenging documentaries, there's always space available for people that are interested.
You all have a lot of outreach too to kind of spread the word and education about film as an industry. We do,
and my primary role is, so Kim Haywood runs the festival, and my job is to promote the festival and raise the money and create awareness. And so we go all around the state. And one thing that's great about being in Oklahoma City is we partner with the Cowboy Hall of Fame and Red Earth, and we go on a statewide tour to get people excited about coming to Oklahoma City for 2 weeks worth of events. And Red Earth obviously has been amazing for Oklahoma City, as has the Cowboy Hall of Fame and Western Heritage Museum. And so our goal is just to create partnerships that help all of us work together to create more excitement in Oklahoma City.
Have there been success stories where movies that debuted in Oklahoma City and then wound up with a larger audience?
Yes. And I'll tell you one very interesting one is we played a movie called The Daughter of Dawn. It's the first movie that ever used Native Americans as Native Americans, and the History Center bought it from the Smithsonian. We debuted it, and now it's going on an international tour starting at the Berlin Film Festival when we were able to premiere it here, but because it got so much recognition, it's now going around the world. And it's interesting because it's a little piece of history here in Oklahoma that it was an undiscovered film. So.
And because some of these films are local and
Yes.
regional in nature, I would assume that there will be producers and cinematographers and actors.
Yes, so
here as well.
we'll have. So the best thing about attending a festival is that we will have the filmmakers for just about every movie. We'll have a lot of the famous actors, and they all come to town because it's a lot like an arts festival. It's a celebration of the art of film, and so a lot of famous people and a lot of filmmakers come into town to talk about their work. And so you do really get a different level of watching movies because you have the people that created it there to talk to.
So many people like to hear the behind the scenes and
Yes.
what went into the screenwriting. Are there opportunities to listen to these people talk
Yes,
in
yes.
large audience opportunities?
There definitely are. And so one thing that we've done is we've added an Oklahoma Film Icon Award. And this year we're giving 4. We're giving one to Jill Simpson, who's the film commissioner in Oklahoma that just got the rebate passed. Fritz Kirsch, who started the program at OCCC and OCU. Matthew Mungle, who won the Oscar for Dracula and does special effects makeup. And then and Wes Studi, the Native American actor. And the reason we bring them in is we have a program where we have 50 high schools come for free, high school students, and then we have all these icons lead classes. So they're going to lead a class for rural high school students on how do you make monster makeup like Dracula, and then Fritz is going to do how do you direct a movie, and then we also get other visiting filmmakers to come and talk there. But we have public forums at the museum Friday and Saturday that will allow you to come and you can hear about how do you make movies in Oklahoma. We'll have a conversation with Wes Studi and Sterling Harjo, who's a Sundance Award-winning filmmaker from here, that Bob Blackburn will lead. And so we do have panels on native filmmaking, on filmmaking in Oklahoma, on how do you get a movie distributed, and all of that's on our schedule that's released today on our website.
You mentioned 100 movies. No one could possibly see 100 movies. What is realistic? If someone wanted to go to every movie, how many could they see?
Well, and what makes it a little bit easier is that 86 of those movies are short films, and so you may see 15 short films at a time. But I think if you can go to 2 or 3 movies a day, you're going to love it, and we're going to have a great wide variety for you.
And there's the information on the website.
Information on the website. It all gets launched actually today.
All right, great. Well, give us the website information. We can put it at the bottom of the screen.
Perfect. It's deadcenterfilm.org, or just type Dead Center Film Festival into Google.
All right. Lance, thanks very much.
Thank you very much for
telling
having
more
us,
about
and we
it.
think you're doing a wonderful job as mayor.
Well, I appreciate that, and I hope everyone will have their eyes set on June 11th to the 15th. The weather should cooperate. There's going to be outdoor movies, and certainly most of the venues in town will be showing films as the 14th annual Dead Center Film Festival returns to Oklahoma City, and we're very grateful to the staff over at the Dead Center Film place, and especially to you, Lance.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll have more on the Mayor's Magazine after this.
The median's been mowed, the leaves are raked, and the flowers are planted. The beautification efforts of neighborhood volunteers really make a difference. Unfortunately, there's still something out there cluttering neighborhood street corners. It's illegally placed signs. But now residents fed up with signs and placards littering poles, the grounds, and everywhere in between in their neighborhood can sign up to become a sign sweep volunteer. Sign sweep volunteers must be at least 18 years old, an Oklahoma City resident, and a member of a participating neighborhood association. The city will train neighborhood sign sweep volunteers to identify illegally placed signs and empower them to remove and dispose of them.
Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine. I'm Mick Cornett, the Mayor of Oklahoma City. And in this segment, we're going to continue our theatrical theme by talking about the Academy of Contemporary Music, which is located right here in Oklahoma City. And with us, we have Scott Booker, who looks after the ACM. And we also have Cameron Neal, who's a young artist, performer,
Yes.
and he's going to be playing something for us at the end of the show. But I thought it would be a good opportunity for us just to find out more about ACM and how it's grown here in Oklahoma City to continue to captivate a lot of the business leaders and community at large. So welcome both of you to the Mayor's Magazine.
Well, thank you for having us.
Scott, we ought to probably start with you because you were kind of there at the beginning when ACM was just kind of an idea, a crazy idea to some, that this suburban university would want to create this music school that could rival any in the world and not do it on its campus, but instead go into an entertainment district in downtown Oklahoma City and just try to create space for itself.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, you know, the idea, the ACM was already in existence in England, and we just brought it over here. It had been going for a while, and we thought, with the amount of talent, the amazing amount of talent that comes from Oklahoma, there's no reason why we can't help create, you know, an infrastructure to let a program like that grow here.
Yeah, but the relationships that are necessary to make that a serious accomplishment, you first of all, you have to get the university to agree to it, and then and that's no easy thing, and then you have to move into and get with the city leaders in Oklahoma City, the business community, the brick town, all of those, and then you have to go out and create create demand and try to figure out how to make all the mechanics work. So congratulations on the front end, but secondly, what have you learned in the few years? I mean, apparently it was a good idea. Back when it was just an idea, it was a good idea.
Well, you know, we started with about 160 students, and we've grown to now where we've got over 400, and I see our continual path of growth, but what's exciting to me about what's going on is the growth of the industry around us. I think if you asked anyone that was interested in music about the music scene, for lack of a better term, 5 or 6 years ago compared to now, I think they would say that it's grown exponentially. Mm-hmm. And part of that is just like people look at Nashville or Austin, Texas, and there's these cities that have recognition for being a music town. We already had the talent. We just didn't have the focus. Mm-hmm. And I believe the ACM kind of became a catalyst or a focus point for the music industry to work around, much like the film industry and deadCENTER. Mm-hmm. And from there, we've been able to help talent grow. And we're starting to get bands that are getting signed to record labels, just like Cameron and Horse Thief, and artists that we had a young student graduate with a 2-year degree, went to Los Angeles, produced and co-wrote a Kelly Clarkson single, and won a Grammy last year. Dante Jones.
That's pretty impressive.
So we're not only do we have the idea behind it, but we have the proof that as a business, this can work. And that's ultimately what our program is about tying the arts into business.
Yeah, so if you're a young person and you want to be a performer, they'll help you refine your craft.
Exactly.
If you want to produce, they'll give you opportunities to produce. If you're a songwriter, and is there any aspect of the music industry that you guys couldn't be a part of the story?
No, there's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can speak to it as probably even better having gone through the program. But we cover performance, production, and music business, and every student has to take music business classes. So when you go out there, you're prepared. You hear so many great stories from the past of like, oh, this blues artist sold all of his songs for $0.25, and none of our students are going to do that.
Well, let's turn the conversation over to Cameron. Cameron, just a few years ago, you were a high school kid in Denton, Texas.
Yeah.
And I assume enthralled with music, and we're trying to figure out what did you want to do with your life. So take us through that conversation.
I had looked at a couple of different colleges. I looked at Berkeley College of Music in Belmont, and actually the University of North Texas. And the main thing that struck my eye about ACM was, there's a program there that we could go to school, we could tour, we could come up there and learn about our instrument and get an education at the same time, but there's a sense of freedom there. And it was a young program, and it seemed like it was something that we could be a part of, and that was something that was really interesting for us.
What did your family and friends think when you told them you were going
Moving
to, yes,
to
you were going to
Oklahoma.
college, but secondly, you're going to Oklahoma, and yes, you're still going to be a musician?
I think once we actually moved up here and did it, everyone, really saw the light of ACM and really turned for it. Because, at first everyone was like, it was a new program, no one really knew what it was. But now it's, like you said, internationally known. And there's articles coming out all over the world about ACM, and I think now it's kind of like, oh man, you got an eye on that for the beginning.
You know, one of the advantages of attending a school is that you meet other students. It's not just your interaction with professors and, and professionals. It's other students. What have you learned from other students that have kind of helped you refine your abilities?
Well, I mean, actually, our lead guitar player was a student there too, and we met him after we moved up here. And I mean, the biggest thing is meeting these students, going out to shows, working shows with these students, and you know, you learn so much about the industry just from getting to know all these Oklahoma musicians who may have lived here for, you know, their entire life, or may have moved here from Michigan or something like that. And it's really interesting to see the way everyone's working together in the Oklahoma City music scene.
What sort of talent is on campus there?
All sorts of talent. I mean, there's country artists, there's rap artists, there's indie artists. I mean, it's insane how many. There's producers that are building studios in Oklahoma City right now. There's managers. There's literally every part of the music industry at that school.
And with the digitalization and the advent of the internet, it just seems
so
easily for a really talented person to get exposed to a lot of different audiences.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you can see that with several students that are coming out of that school, which is really awesome to see.
And so when you arrived at ACM, were you in a band or were you just a student by
I mean,
yourself?
Horse Thief was a band when we moved up here. So, I mean, we went through, you know, we've been a band for 4 years now, and we both went through, it was me and the bass player, Cody, went through the 2-year program. And then we started picking up steam, and we actually got signed by Simon Raymond.
How did that happen? How were you discovered?
Yeah, he had a master class with Simon Raymond, who came to the school, and he gave this master class, and we talked a little bit afterwards, and I gave him our CD, and then he seemed interested, so we invited him out to the South by Southwest showcase. That was an ACM showcase, and from there he invited us over to UK to play a festival, and then after the UK festival he signed us to a record deal. So all those links kind of started right at the home of ACM.
Signing a record deal, what does that do for you and your
It
music?
does a lot of things. I mean, they have like an in-house promotion company. They have everything. They print your records for you and things like that. So, I mean, it's basically like your hub and your home of building a team around you.
Mm-hmm. There's distribution opportunities.
Distribution and everything, yeah.
Promotional opportunities.
Yeah.
So what have you seen? What is the distribution? What promotional opportunities have come so far?
Well, we've actually signed a worldwide deal with them, and we just went up to New York City. The record just came out last week, and you know, we're seeing it all over the nation right now in distribution. My cousin lives in Nashville, and he's, you know, walked into the record store on Record Store Day and called me. I was like, hey, your vinyl's sitting here on the premiere shelf. And it was just like so insane. But I mean, they do all sorts of stuff for us. I mean, we've been on NPR, we've been on Spin, we've been on Pace Magazine, we've been on all these different publications. And even in the UK, we've been on The Guardian and stuff like that. So the label's been incredible for us. And I don't think any of it would have happened had we not moved up here and gone through ACM.
Scott, you spent a lot of time, and most famously with the Flaming Lips, and know a lot about the music industry. And we all see this huge pie. We see a lot of money that goes into the entertainment industry, but it gets divided up amongst a lot of groups. Though obviously the record label has to make their money, the producers, the songwriters, the performers themselves. What would surprise the average person about how the pie is divided up on the business side?
I think they'd be surprised that artists make far less money than they expect. My point is not that you're not making a great living, potentially making a great living doing it. You absolutely can. But everyone sees the huge Aerosmith or someone, and they think, oh, multimillionaires. But the majority of the artists out there making a living doing this are not reaping those kinds of benefits. But, you know, they may be making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, having a great job, doing something they love for their whole life. And that's really my goal with the school, is to help as many people as possible have a career doing something they love. And maybe every once in a while they become a multimillionaire and become the next Miley Cyrus or whatever. But I mean, and you could speak to this, I mean, would you be happy having a career that lasted for 30 years where maybe you never get incredibly wealthy doing it, but you have a great living doing it?
Yeah, man, that's kind of the longevity game, and I remember you telling us that in the very early stages, that, you know, it's not about how do we make a lot of money quick, it's how do we make a lot of money in a long period of time.
And how do you do that?
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is writing good music and never getting undetermined. And I think just constantly fighting the battle of the music industry.
It's, you know, you spoke about the digital world earlier, and that certainly has changed the scope of how people make money. So now it's kind of gone back to making more money playing live and creating music that people want to use for commercials or putting in movies, and you can make a lot of money doing that as well. And people are still selling records, just not as many. Madonna used to sell 30 million records. Now she's selling 3 or 4 million. That's still a lot of records. That's still a lot of money, you know. And once people kind of have that mindset of like, look, you know, it's kind of shifted back to kind of the amount of records that people bought in the 60s or the 70s versus what happened. There was a very brief period when people bought multiple millions of records, and it's moved back, but you can still have a great life and a great living, travel the world. How many times have you been to Europe now?
We've been twice, and we're going, I think, a total of 4 times this year. So it's like, you can't beat that.
I mean, it's a great life, and you can make a great living doing it. Just don't always expect it to be the hugest thing in the world.
Right. Scott Booker and Cameron Neal, our guests on the Mayor's Magazine. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear from Cameron Neal. He's going to actually play and perform and take us to the end of the show. So I'm going to sign off on this edition of the Mayor's Magazine. After this short break, Cameron Neal and Horse Thief.
I enrich our cultural landscape.
I help define our quality of life.
I am one of 4,000 artists in central Oklahoma who receive
support from Allied Arts, this community's united arts organization.
I am an Allied artist.
I was restless, you were hopeless. I was hoping we could figure this out on our own. So fragile, so beautiful, like an angel dripping down on my skull. Pick my body like a good girl. I need someone to untangle these words in my head. In a white suit with a white nose, I am stranded underneath the grip of the world. Don't you tell me driving up the west coast, beating on a dead drum, isn't really helping me out. 'Cause I'm real close to all the other sources of existential voices. That's the voice that's helping me out. Go ahead now, get away from here. I'll be hiding in the hills till our Father is real. I'm just doing what I feel is right, hiding from a dream so I can blend in the light. You're a snake bite, you stuck your teeth in me. I'm not dying, but it's hurting my reasoning. Question who now? Question my disbelief in a statue that keeps staring back at me. Ask him questions. Do you believe in God? He looks back at me with a wink and a nod. Don't you tell me driving up the west coast, beating on a dead drum, isn't really helping you out. 'Cause I'm real close to all the other sources of existential voices. That's the voice that's helping me out. now. I think I found myself. We won't know until the final gate is unveiled. But I'm waiting for that special girl to unwind herself for the rest of the world. Try my spirit now, it tastes real sweet, like the water dripping out from the stream on the east. Go to bed now, I hope you sleep real well. Won't you remember me when they ask you to tell who's the man now in the white coat on the west coast, banging his drum till the dawn for you to hear him underneath a sodden full of heavy thoughts and a dream of his own.